Today we're going to be making tsampa, or Tibetan roast barley flour, which is the main ingredient in ba, which is a stiff porridge. So now we're going to rinse out our barley a few times until the water runs clear, and then we're going to go ahead and let it sit overnight. The next day, put your barley through a strainer and shake it out a few times, and then spread it evenly inside of a cookie sheet with a piece of cloth. Then put it in the sun for 20 minutes. So I am now heading to the beach to go grab some sand for roasting the barley. Now you might get a few stares, but just get out of there quickly. Now grab your tray and start getting your sand hot. Now go ahead and toss your barley in the hot sand and toss it around until it's a nice light brown. Now we're going to put it through a strainer a couple times. So I actually couldn't get all the sand out, so I rinsed it out and put it in the oven, and it worked out pretty well. Now go ahead and throw your barley into a coffee grinder and grind it until it's a fine powder. And there you have it. You have some tsampa ready to be made into ba, which goes really well with Sepen buttered tea. Boil 4 cups of water and add 3 bags of pu'er tea. Boil for 5 minutes and then go ahead and take those tea bags out. Then you're going to add your salt and milk. Give that a good stir. Now blend your butter and tea mixture together. It's now ready to drink, and now onto the ba. So we're going to start with a little bit of buttered tea, some tsampa, some butter, and a little bit of cheese. Use your finger to mix that around until you make a soft dough, and make these little dumplings in the shape of your own hand. Now onto the Sepen hot sauce. Dice up some celery, tomatoes, scallions, onions, cilantro, and garlic. Heat some oil up in a wok. Now add your garlic and saute for 1 minute. Add your onions and once again saute for 1 more minute. Add your celery and whole dried red chilies and cook that down for 1 more minute. Add your tomatoes, give that a minute. Now add your cilantro, scallions, and salt. Now cook your sauce down for about 2 more minutes and then blend it on up until your desired consistency. This is how you make lapsha, or beef and radish Tibetan stew. So first you're going to blanch some beef in some hot water and dice up 1 brown onion and 1 large radish. Next we're going to make up some garlic paste by pounding it in our mortar and pestle. Now we're going to slice up 1 white onion and 2 tomatoes. Add your brown onion to the pan. And then we're going to sweat it out with some salt. Add some cumin seed, Sichuan peppercorn, bay leaf, and black cardamom. Now we're going to keep sauteing our onion with spices until it gets really soft. So now we're going to add our tomatoes and cook those down. And we're going to add our whole red chili peppers, our turmeric, chili powder, and garlic paste. And now we're going to keep sauteing that until it gets cooked down, and we're going to add our meat. So now we're going to add some water, white onion, and beef bouillon and put it in our pressure cooker for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we're going to go ahead and add our radish and cook it down for 20 more minutes. Top it off with more water and beef bouillon if needed. Now, after 20 minutes, our lapsha is ready to be topped off with some scallions. Alright, so here we have all of our food in front of us. So I'm going to go with the lapsha first, which was the beef radish soup. I had a little bit of taste of this earlier, but it was just the broth, so let's see how everything tastes. Start with the beef. Yeah, the pressure cooker really softened that up. I used a pretty tough piece of beef. And the broth has the fat in there. It has a little bit of acidity from the spice. And you could really taste like the small tinge of like the Sichuan peppercorn in there. Let's try the radish now. Yeah. Okay, Tibet, I see you. Wow. That was good. Okay, let's go on to the ba, made from the tsampa, which caused me a lot of trouble because of all the steps that it took to make this. Oop, it just fell apart. And let's go ahead and try this one out. Okay, getting some of the Sepen, the Tibetan hot sauce, put a little bit of that on top. Okay. My roommate Brad said very earthy. Really interesting to see the different flavor profiles of the world. We're gonna go ahead and try the pocha, or the changamo. Wow, really rich. It almost tastes like the milk tea, where we have like a salted foam. Man, really good. We're gonna take a couple more bites, process this a little bit more. So the beef really reminds me of bun bo hue a little bit, like the rich beef broth. But you know, it's definitely its own thing, very unique, and I would definitely make this again. And it being winter in San Francisco, even though it's pretty warm in my house, like I think it complements the weather very well. Although I will say, I love the broth, I love the beef, but the radish is definitely my favorite part of this. And I almost like the pho on its own. Let me give this another bite. It almost like, it's like a bread, like dipping kind of like in like salsa. You know, just I can really see how like this meal, like everything really works together. I'm just imagining myself in Tibet, you know, it's really cold. Maybe I was out all day and coming home to this would like be a really great treat. And you know, just washing it down with the pocha or the changamo. Tibet, great. I hope to go one day. Probably will not climb Mount Everest, but yeah. All right, well, thanks everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this meal. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. But wait, I have to choose my next place. It was great to scratch Tibet off of our map, and now let's see where we'll go next. Alright, well, it's here in the US of A, in the American Midwest.